Let's stay with the situation in the United States, because President Bush has been speaking this lunchtime saying that there was no alternative to this $700 billion bailout plan, that it really needed to go through. Let's just speak to Grover Norquist. He's from Americans for Tax Reform. He joins us now from Washington. Thanks for joining us here on BBC News, Mr. Norquist. President Bush summed it up, really, didn't he? I mean, if this deal doesn't go through, there will be severe and lasting damage for the US economy.
Well, there's severe damage now. They've lost $700 billion. The question of if you go take it from somewhere else and put it in Wall Street, it's still missing. The question is, what do you do to reform things so you don't repeat these mistakes?
Yeah, but as President Bush made clear, and as Hank Paulson's been trying to make clear as well, we're not talking about bailing out or rescuing some fat cats on Wall Street, are we, these rich bankers? We're looking at a really significant impact on the whole world economy if this toxic debt isn't taken out of the equation.
Well, the debt is bad and it's gone. The question is, if you take money from one place and put it in another, it's like taking water out of one side of a lake and pouring it into the other and telling me that you're filling up the lake. What we need to do is reform the economic decisions that created this mess. The United States had a Community Reinvestment Act which forced banks to make these bad loans. That was U.S. government policy, and they aren't talking about getting rid of that law. What do you fix? If you bail this out and keep that law in place, it'll happen again.
Well, just on that, my last point, I mean, what about the global economy here? We're just not looking at America, are we? We're looking at a whole chain reaction, which could send many other countries into recession, if not worse.
When the United States is a very large part of the world economy, when we do something very stupid, it's very expensive for the rest of the world, too.
Okay, all right. Well, what needs to be done in your view? What are you calling for? Tax relief? You're looking for something across the board for most American taxpayers?
Yeah. If you were to cut taxes like the capital gains tax, or particularly taxes for companies that buy distressed assets, that would raise the actual value of the land, the buildings, the assets that are owned. Not imaginary bailing something out, but changing the value of the assets because you remove a tax liability, a boat anchor, on those assets. You could start by abolishing the capital gains tax for 2 years. You could start by cutting the corporate capital gains. We have a 35% corporate capital gains tax in the United States, 15% for individuals, 35% for businesses. We could get rid of the repatriation tax. We make it difficult for people to bring money back to the United States to solve these problems. There are a number of fixes there, but killing the Community Reinvestment Act, which caused much of this, deciding that you're not going to keep inflating the currency would be helpful. And frankly, we need to take the government-sponsored entities, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, and make it clear that they're going to be privatized, broken up, and are never coming back as government entities again.
Just one final thought, if I may. I mean, what does all this mean politically for George Bush, of course, a lame-duck president, not much further to... What does it mean for him, and in terms of the political miscalculation, as it were, about vesting so much power in one man, Hank Paulson?
Well, clearly the president was going to have a troubled legacy on foreign policy with the occupation of Iraq. It's now going to look as though he'll have a troubled and perhaps failed legacy on economic matters as well. He's going to have to write a very long autobiography to fix this.
Okay, Grover Norquist, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Grover Norquist, American for Tax Reform, joining us there from Washington.